And welcome to Conversations with Dr. Jay Harness. And I'm your host, Jay Harness. And boy, do I have a special guest with me today. His name is Aaron Leventhal. Aaron is an ex-professional soccer player, a cancer survivor, a performance coach, and really importantly for me, he's a certified exercise oncology specialist. He is the author of the book, The New Fit. We're going to talk about that. In addition to being a coach and an educator, he is the director of Active Against Cancer USA. His work on health, wellness, and exercise oncology has impacted thousands. Aaron, welcome.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's really my treat. And you're up there in Minneapolis, and how's the weather today? Are you surviving okay?
I'll tell you what, it is almost 40 degrees up here, and I live right near Lake Harriet, which you know, and I literally just saw a guy ride his bike with no shirt, shorts, and sandals on down the street.
So typical Minnesota. I just absolutely love it. Oh, that's really spectacular. Well, Aaron, you've got a really unique history. Tell us a little bit about your days as a professional soccer player.
Yeah, so I played professional soccer in what was called the A-League. I'm dating myself. This was before Major League Soccer. Uh, And I was drafted right out of school. I went to Drake University, played in 8 years, for 8 years in that league. And then I was fortunate enough when I finished, because I'd studied exercise science, I stayed on for nearly 2 decades in Major League Soccer as the head of performance for Minnesota United, which was the same club that I played for.
Oh, wow. Oh, very good. And
Yep.
at Drake, did you have, that's where you studied exercise science basically, or?
Yep, that's right. And I played soccer there as well.
All right. Whatever interested you, you're obviously inherently an athlete, but whatever interested you in taking it further and studying about it, and then we'll talk a little bit about your cancer diagnosis.
Yeah. I mean, I had always loved movement. Um, I was I loved soccer. My mom is from Mexico, and so I remember my uncle was a big soccer fan, and I just remember growing up with soccer and always having a soccer ball around, and I loved it. And I played youth soccer. I ended up playing in college, and um, then I loved the competitive nature of the sport. And so that's kind of what drew me into soccer. And part of that, I loved the science of performance. I really loved it. And not sure if you're aware, but soccer, being sort of the world's game, had sort of these pockets around the world where research and science really drove performance before sports in the US. And so I loved that. I loved reading through research papers early on about speed, about power, about how to recover from injury. And so that package kind of was perfect for me.
Oh, that's outstanding. And obviously, it's clearly your passion for sure. Well, then
Love it.
as you're marching along through life, whammo, all of a sudden comes a cancer diagnosis. You want to share our audience a little bit of that about that story?
Sure. So this was about 2.5 years ago. I woke up, went out for a workout, finished my workout, got out of the shower, toweled off, and I felt a lump in my chest. And it's funny, Jay, I still have the text message I sent my wife that morning at 8:34 a.m. I knew I had cancer. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and so days later, I was in surgery, and weeks later, I was in treatment, and yeah, that was my story. It was a tough year. I was 49 years old at the time, and it was hard. It was, my world kind of turned upside down. I have four wonderful kids and an amazing wife, and I sort of had to deal with the emotional piece of the potential of losing, saying goodbye to those people, and that was hard for me. I'd never faced that before.
Yeah, wow. You betcha. And it's really part of the cancer story of all cancer survivors, Aaron.
That's
I'm
right.
sure, and you're working with cancer patients now as a certified exercise oncology specialist. I'm sure you've related to that aspect of their lives, and I'm sure they've shared that with you. In
Yeah.
the 47 years that I was in practice as a surgical oncologist, I certainly saw profound changes in people's lives. Now, one of the things we talked about before we started recording was the fact your antecedent exercise history before your diagnosis of cancer. I shared with you that right out the door, almost no matter what, you had about an 18% improved survival based on that antecedent history. Have you shared that with your patients at all? Are you aware of that kind of data?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it just anecdotally as I work with patients. And th this should make sense, right? That if you have a background in training and exercise, you're probably coming into it more fit, which is why I'll say that at point of diagnosis, even before treatment or before surgery, that's why movement and exercise is so important. Even during treatment, after treatment. But so just knowing that and knowing that you bring a certain set of skills to the table when you have a movement background is really important. I got to tell you, Jay, I mean, we talked a little bit about this, but there's an emotional side of cancer. And there's an emotional side of exercise. That's what I want to say. There's an emotional side of exercise that's different than other treatments. It's different than chemo. You show up to an infusion and it's done to you. Exercise is different. It's emotional. You have to do it to yourself. That makes it pretty challenging. And so being able to build those skills, the skills of, you know, um, um, autonomy, wanting to participate in a program, building the skills of confidence and competency, and doing that is easier with support. All these things kind of wrap into what I would say is um, a way to create a sustainable movement practice through cancer.
Yeah. And it obviously helped you get through all your treatments. I'm sure you recovered from your surgery faster. You got chemotherapy. You felt like crap for a couple of days, but recovered pretty quickly from that. Any other comments about how you exercised during your treatments, Aaron?
Yeah, and I'll say, Jay, honestly, for me, it was even though I had that background, it was not easy. It
Oh, of
was
course,
it was it
right.
was hard. I remember, going for a walk around the block and being like I can't do it, and
Yeah.
almost willing to settle, right? To say like, this is it, this is all I got. Um, but I think one of the Catherine Schmidt says this. She says, start low
Yep.
and progress slow. And
Yep.
even I tell people this all the time. I say, even a short walk is a powerful first step, and it's so true. And you just slowly progress. Listen, I'll say this last thing about this is that the first pillar, by far, of any movement practice is connection. You've got to love it. You've got to look forward to it. It has to have meaning to you. And how do you do that? You do it through, a lot of people do it through community. You find a great community, a great coach, camaraderie. But that's the first pillar of really developing a practice that is sustainable, that you look forward to.
Oh, that's outstanding, Aaron. I really appreciate that. And the important point here is the point that exercise for cancer patients should begin at the time of diagnosis, continue through active treatment, and particularly in the long-term survivorship.
That's
Well,
right.
tell us about Active Against Cancer, which I believe started where? In Norway? Where
Yep.
would it start? Tell
Started in
us about it.
Norway. Yep.
Yeah.
So started in Norway. I think this was 2007. Greta Weitz, who was the I think she was a nine-time New York. marathon winner. I think it was nine. She was a silver medalist in the Olympics. She was Norwegian. She was diagnosed with cancer, and um, she knew, I can't remember the exact quote that she had, but she said, if exercise were a pill,
Right.
everybody would be prescribing it. And she wanted to see people move. She wanted to see people move from the point of diagnosis. And
Yeah.
so she partnered with the founder of Active Against Cancer, Hella, who I think you'll meet soon.
Uh-huh.
And they started one gym inside a hospital in Norway. Now there's 24 of those gyms in hospitals in Norway, and I think this year, if not next year, it'll be standard of care.
Oh, that's fabulous.
What that means is that patients will go from diagnosis to treatment to movement all under one roof in one place. And I'm heading back to Norway. This is exciting news. I'm heading back to Norway in February because they are opening their first uh, gym and research facility in one where they will be able to support cancer patients in their exercise programs and be able to do research in the same space.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, as we wrap up, please tell us about your book, The New Fit.
Yeah, so the new fit. This is really a book designed to help people as they age. So it's a book um, for 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. How do you look at your movement practice? How do you think about what it is that you're doing to help stay healthy and live longer? And I would say the main focus is uh, taking these ideas of what practices exist around the world, and how can we utilize those practices, everything from yoga to strength training, and what do those mean? How do they fit into your world? That's the general idea of the book.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love your talking about this as a movement practice. Somehow that sounds more palatable than necessarily talking about exercise.
That's right. Yeah, that's
You know,
right. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. People, I mean, you say come to the gym or come exercise, and that's intimidating. You got to keep in mind, Jay, here's an interesting fact. This was in published in a JAMA research paper. About 1.8 million people are diagnosed with cancer each year,
yep,
and only 4% of those follow the exercise guidelines that could change their
yeah,
outcomes.
yep.
And you've got to keep in mind that people are mostly sedentary. And so introducing this concept of movement, especially while you're sick, it can be intimidating.
Yep, it absolutely is. Well, you and I are dedicated to that, and I love that concept of a movement practice. Well, let me take this opportunity, Aaron, to thank you so very much for being with me today. And as we wrap up, I'd like to encourage people to come visit us at cancerfitness.org, where we have all sorts of wonderful resources. And Aaron, what about yourself? What website would we recommend for folks to visit that you have?
You can follow me on my socials at Aaron Leventhal, and I do a lot of posting for people on, how could they move if they're going through chemo? What should they think about doing for movement if they're experiencing neuropathy? So really simple, easy places for people to start.
Oh, fantastic. Well, once again, Aaron, I want to thank you for being here, and please join us the next time we have a conversation with Dr. Jay Harness.